When the velvet seam split, the story of Czechoslovakia. Imagine a land born in the ashes of empires, where poets and engineers, steel and symphonies, all dance to a uniquely Slavic rhythm, a land of mountains and factories, resistance and resilience. Two peoples stitched together by idealism and sundered by quiet revolution. This was no ordinary breakup, it was the world's gentlest divorce. Welcome to the Library of Lost Lands, where we delve into the stories of countries that once were, but are no longer with us. The country was formerly known as the Czechoslovak Republic, later the Czechoslovak Socialist Republic, and finally the Czech and Slovak Federative Republic. It existed from 1918 to 1992, with Prague as its capital. Its flag, a horizontal tricolor of white and red with a blue triangle, became iconic in the 20th century. At its peak, it housed around 15 million people, made up primarily of Czechs and Slovaks, along with Germans, Hungarians, Roma, and others. So, Czechoslovakia emerged from the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire at the end of World War I. It was founded in 1918 by visionary leaders like Thomas Masaryk and Edvard Beneš, who really sought to unite the Czech lands of Bohemia and Moravia with Slovakia, which was then part of Hungary. The country became one of the few democracies in a continent tilting towards fascism in the interwar period, a rare liberal experiment in Central Europe. Czechoslovakia was no mere patchwork. It was a promising blend of industrial might and agrarian depth. The Czech lands were some of the most developed in Europe, while Slovakia brought cultural richness and untapped economic potential. Together, they forged a progressive education system, a robust manufacturing sector, and a respected diplomatic presence. Even under communist rule after World War II, the nation preserved a sense of intellectual rigor and cultural innovation. The Prague Spring of 1968, which was crushed by Soviet tanks, still left a legacy of resistance that inspired generations. But unity was always uneasy. The Czech half was more industrialized and urbanized, while the Slovak side was more rural and religious. Centralized control from Prague bred resentment in Bratislava. Under communist rule, regional identities were officially ignored, but honestly, privately nurtured. The 1968 Warsaw Pact invasion deepened disillusionment with Moscow, and by the 1980s, cracks in the socialist system mirrored the fractures in national identity. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 unleashed long-suppressed political energies. The Velvet Revolution brought down the communist regime without bloodshed, but with freedom came self-reflection. Slovak leaders pushed for more autonomy, while Czech leaders, particularly Václav Klaus, preferred economic and political efficiency. Despite polls showing many citizens wanted to stay united, political elites orchestrated the Velvet Divorce in 1993. And just like that, with no war, no referendum, and barely a protest, Czechoslovakia ceased to exist. Today, Czechia and Slovakia are peaceful, democratic nations. They share open borders, friendly relations, and close economic ties. You can still find signs marked CSFR, Czechoslovak Federative Republic, in forgotten rail stations or bureaucratic documents. Their joint Olympic teams from the early 90s remind us of a time when they stood together. And in places like Prague's National Museum or Bratislava Castle, the memory of their shared past lingers in architecture, language, and lore. Czechoslovakia showed the world that countries can form not just through blood and fire, but through hope and compromise. And it also showed that sometimes parting ways, when done with grace, can be just as noble. Was Czechoslovakia's peaceful split a model to emulate, or a sign that even the best marriages can't last forever? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more from the Library of Lost Lands, where we uncover the nation's history forgot, but you never should.